Are we allowed to drink on this podcast?
Hell yeah, you're allowed to drink, and
Oh,
welcome back. That's a great start to the 8th episode of the Greasy Alpha podcast, joined by South Florida's OG top comedians, Mike Cintron. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show, my man. Thanks for doing it with me.
honor is mine, Tony. It is a pleasure to be on here. I don't know if I'm like top Florida comedian. I just done it for a little bit because it's boring. I mean, what else are you gonna do with life? You're gonna sit at home watching series. You're gonna watch Breaking Bad over and over again, trying to
I
figure
get
out when everything went wrong.
At some point, I think that's just why we get started with this crazy hobby, because we're just like, what else do I do? Like, we're just not comfortable going home and watching TV every night. We're like, let's just
Boring.
go waste time at a dive bar for 5 minutes jokes that aren't really prepared yet. And it's great. Like, I love it. We
Yeah,
love that. We're sick in the head a little bit.
yeah, and you feel like it's a little bit of a club because like it takes a certain person to actually wanna get on stage. Of course, we've seen those kind of comics that I don't want to downplay them, right? Like maybe they have for whatever reason, maybe there was a dare, maybe they just thought it was a thing to do, and they tried a couple of times. We never see them again, right? And then there's some that that come frequently or start their own mics or whatever the case may be, and they're more engaged in the scene, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Definitely. You're one of those cats, man. I was just gonna ask, like, do you remember the first time we met? It sounds kind of
Yeah.
romantic, but
I
yeah.
remember the first time we like engaged in like conversation, because I'd met you briefly at a mic, and then I saw you at Ginger's in Fort Lauderdale, and you were
Okay.
hammered, and you were
Okay.
like, and I think I either got on the mic, or I actually might have been one of those nights where I showed up to get on. I didn't, but I hung around. I was still new. I was trying to like make friends and stuff, and you were drunk as hell, and you were like, "Dude,
Yeah.
you look like Batista," and
Yeah. Yeah.
and and you were telling me you look like Batista, and I was like, "Dude, you're like Rocket, man. We're a great team here,
I
dude."
felt like we
And
were Guardians of the Galaxy that night, for
that was
sure.
it, dude. That's how it started. Yeah, we share the same memory, right? That was the first time we met.
Well, as you're talking about it, there's like a brain cell that's kind of like flickering, like, and I'm seeing like memories. I was at that bar, so yeah, I would say something. I'd be like, "Oh my God, it's Drax from Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy or whatever." So
no, that
yeah,
was
because
great.
I'm a nerd. I try to equate people to heroes or characters I know from movies, and I try to make it cool, as cool as I can think of.
Well, if we're looking for ways to remember names, like that's not a bad thing to do, necessarily. Like, I mean, hey, if you have some sort of assignment in your brain of like, oh yeah, that's the Drax guy, then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I do know a guy who kind of looks like Zac Efron, and I always call him Ted Bundy because Efron played Ted Bundy.
Is that Danny Fallon?
No, Danny's not that handsome. He's a handsome guy, but he's not
He is.
Zac
I
Efron
love that guy.
handsome. He's Ted Bundy crazy, but he's not. But he's not. He's not that handsome.
Inside jokes. We were like, "What? You got to go back to the other." He was a
Previous
guest. This
episode,
is your
two
first
episodes
time.
ago.
Check
Yeah,
them
he
all
was
out.
episode 6.
I
Yeah.
wanted to bring up. I was watching some episodes just to get prepared. Doing my little reconnaissance.
Hell
Good.
yeah.
I like it. I hope this thing keeps going. I like when you were talking about a statistic about the average weight of Americans on a plane. And I don't know if that was your buddy.
Yeah.
He's a little heavier. You're like average weight is 175. He's like not in America, and you're
Hmm.
like yeah, I guess. I'm just gonna roll
Yeah.
over this one.
Well, he's a big fella, man. He's over four
He seems
bills
really
for
cool. Really
sure.
cool.
Oh, he's great, dude. He's one of my best friends from life in general, but we met
He's
in
in
college.
Jersey now.
He's back in Florida.
Okay.
He was in Jersey and New
Okay.
York for a little bit, but yeah, he's back in Florida now. But yeah, no, he's the other end of the spectrum of you. Like you're one of my smaller friends. He is probably my largest friend.
You got to get us in a room
Dude, I'm
together.
trying to hit numbers here, dude. That's
That'd be awesome. Hitting all demographics. You're all about the DEI, right? Is that the new movement?
yeah,
Diversity,
dude. I'm trying to
equity,
make sure I hit that
inclusion.
on equity. I don't think it's equity. Is
Isn't
it?
that equity? I need money. That's why.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what we want, but no, it's just making sure we have the
Equality.
the full spectrum of everything in the workplace. I think that's what DEI means. I'm not
Yeah,
totally sure.
yeah. I mean, I think the general idea of it is good. But you can't like uh, deny people of their talents as well. It's a hard balance. It's a little like, what do I do? You don't want to let some loser in the company and brings your whole empire down.
Dude,
But
as
at the
someone who
same time, you know. Anyway, what are
no,
you gonna
as
say?
someone who overthinks everything, I'm just glad I'm not in charge of hiring because
No,
I would just I'd be second guessing myself. Like I think the initiative it probably makes a lot of sense, but I don't. I'd be worried. I'd
dude,
be, I'd just be worried I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm just like I don't know, man.
my jobs have put me in the past in charge of hiring, and let's just put it this way: like the best I can do are two comics that still work with me at the company. Everyone else I've recommended has like dropped out. One guy stole the laptop. They had to. I just met him. I didn't know him. I was just like, yeah, he seems like a good fella. He's trying to get an opportunity. Give him a chance. And then like he dipped out with the laptop they gave him, and they had to like press lawyer charges. They got it back, but I was like, don't put me in charge of hiring anybody. I'm just like, yeah, let's just see what. Maybe we'll find a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Like, how well do you know that guy? You're like, I bet I just met him. I don't.
Well, they were like, hey, why don't you interview this person, and then just let us know if you think they're going to be a good fit here in our culture. And I'm like, I barely know what the culture is, so I'm just like, all right. I mean, can they make calls? Are they going to be engaging? So guys seem cool with me. We were hitting it off. We're just talking the breeze, and I'm like, give so and so a chance, and then he dips like a couple of weeks in
With the laptop.
with the
That's the
laptop. Like,
that's the
took him
key.
three
Yeah.
months to get back that laptop.
Oh man, dude,
Yeah,
that's it.
it
It
was pretty
wasn't
rough.
just yeah. He was really trying to like milk that. He was maybe they'll forget was kind of his thought. He's like they'll just forget that we had
Yeah,
to.
yeah, they're a big enough company. They can get another laptop.
Yeah.
Nope, not in today's
Nah,
world.
nah, dude. What's interesting. I was thinking about when you brought up how people kind of come and go through people. Like there's different ways we see people perform, right? There's like
Yeah,
first timers and last timers, and then there's people that just it's in our blood. We just want to keep doing this forever. There's like the fantasy sports aspect of it now, where there's a lot of
yeah,
people doing it as like the punishment for losing fantasy sports
right.
leagues.
That's what I was. Yeah,
That's
we had a
that
few of those.
I've seen a few, and I've seen some go really well, and I've seen some that are just so poorly planned. I'm like, come on, guys! It's like
They
there,
totally. Yeah,
there was one dude. Like I've seen like three different versions. One guy went up there with jokes that were written for him, which was hilarious because he didn't want to be saying it, but there was thought behind it. I've seen someone
hmm
do their own attempt at 5 minutes, which I give mad respect for.
for
I think
sure.
that's crazy. And the other
They
one I
gave
saw
effort.
was yeah. Like they were they're like, all right, I have to think about it, try it, fall flat on my face. That's just how it goes the first time.
Right.
And then the weirdest one I saw was the punishment was stand up, but they didn't have a date set up. They were going to surprise the loser with the
Okay.
doing. So he showed up to the open mic with
Yeah,
no
you can't do that.
material, and they're like, all right, go do it. And I was like, it was I was it was they got a kick out of it because he really was like uncomfortable. But I was like, man, I just like hated that there wasn't more to it for even for the guy himself, just to be like if
Yeah.
you could feel like you did it more because so many people want to try this like at the end of the
Right.
day and if you do it somewhat the right way, even just kind of close to the right way, it's so rewarding, it's so
Yeah.
much fun, it's so much
Well,
fun.
I agree. Like I remember I had to do not to make it all about me, but I had to do a best man speech, but they didn't tell me. So like I was like it was a couple of years ago. It was like during the whole pandemic or whatever. And during the ceremony after the wedding, they're like, "All right, Mike, say some words." And you're a comedian, and I'm like, I just have to pull something out of my behind, and I just talked about a story, and I would just pause in certain ways, and people would laugh because they're drunk already, and basically how he had to clean his apartment the first time he met this chick, uh, and yeah, people love that. It was endearing. I'm like, I'm so glad I was a part of helping him clean the apartment for you, and so I was just upset because if they would have gave me the opportunity to write something, I would have had more embarrassing stories I could have really talked about, and it could have been, we're comics. I want to slay. I want like I want to get this 5 minute of best man speech. It's going to be punched up to the gills. But
Yeah, the
yeah,
preparation helps. You can improvise a lot. You could do off the cuff, whatever. But it like preparation for any time I do comedy is always proven to be more successful.
yeah.
Like right, and then you mix in the off the cuff stuff because you have confidence in your material. That's how. I don't know. What do I know? I'm
Hmm.
3 years deep. I don't know shit. But
You're great. You're funny. One of my favorites.
oh, thanks, brother. Dude, speaking of speeches, did you watch the Oscars at all? I'm not a big Oscars guy normally. I watched it though. I was just curious. Did you get a peek at it at all?
I saw the clip with Jimmy Kimmel talking smack to Robert Downey. And I gotta say, kudos to Robert Downey because he played it pretty cool, and it was so great to see when a comic tries to make a joke and the room doesn't laugh. They're just like, "What? What are you talking about?" And then they laugh when Robert Downey does something. They're like, "Oh, he's okay." And then the room was only laughing when he was doing just no words, just movements and facial expressions. And Kimmel was just like, "Ugh, I was gonna make him look like such an ass for being a drug addict." And people are endearing for him. Oh, look, like, and I think he has an issue with Robert Downey Jr. If you want to ask me, I think this goes uh, deeper than we as the public know.
So you think there's more to that? I'm
Yes,
not sure.
behind the scenes.
We'll have to dig into that conspiracy and do like a special episode on like the conspiracy of RDJ and Kimmel and what the real beef is, behind them. But
This is a
I
man that used to do the Man Show, and he used to have, okay, now girls on trampolines. Now, okay, I get it. People are allowed to grow and change and evolve and whatever. But how are you going to pass judgment on people when your show was all about drinking on a weekday and like kind of giving teenagers a bad, role model? I don't know.
no, he definitely deserves like a like I don't know, like a sly remark kind of because he was that and he became this. But at the same time, it's like if the opportunity calls to go be that guy, you're like, I could tighten up. I could clean up enough
Yeah.
to take it. But you got to remember where you came from. And be like, all right, I wasn't like
Well,
perfect
that's why I
always
think he was
myself.
cool
Yeah.
about it. Like he owned it. He was like not like "F you." I'm gonna like he didn't pull a Will Smith and keep my name out your mouth,
Yeah, dude.
which that would have been cool,
We'll probably never
honestly.
see a smack of a face or violence on a stage again at an award ceremony in our lifetime. That
Yeah,
that will probably be a one-time thing, which is really neat to think about. What I think is interesting about Oscars, award ceremonies in general, the speeches just suck so hard for the most
they
part.
are. They're terrible.
Like it because
They're
and I
grandiose.
yeah, like, and I get that they're like, I want to thank Mike Cintron. I want to thank these people. That it's like, I almost wish they'd put something on the screen of like the thanks, so it's out there, and then they could just speak. I want to hear them speak and like speak from the
With
heart
their
and be like,
Instagram handles,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. It's like these
you can
these
follow
are the
them.
people. Those are great, but here's what I gotta say. Like that's what I wish it was. I wish it was more like that. But I thought the funniest one, I don't know if you saw it, and one day when I'm better at podcasting, I'll learn how to pull up videos while I'm doing it. But when the Godzilla team won, I don't know if you saw that, but
Oh,
it's
I'm sure
it's
my cousin loved that shit.
there. It's all these Asian people get on stage, and like right before they start talking, it kind of clapping kind of stops, gets a little quiet. Someone in the crowd yells Godzilla, and they took it so well, and they
Yeah,
like they turned to where the noise came from, and they were like, yeah, like
yeah.
it was great. It was like it was like the most underrated part in the guy's speech. I had no clue what he said the entire time, but his last things he said, all that matters is this. He goes, everybody has a chance. And I
Yeah,
was like, hell yeah, brother. I don't know
yeah.
anything else,
Everybody
but
does have a
everyone has a
chance. I like
chance. And
it.
I'm like, dude, that's all I needed to hear from that, bro. So that was a fun part of that.
No, that is good, and I love messages from people who work hard, and who knows what that struggle was making that movie. They win, and they're just sharing that back, that like, hey, anything is possible kind of thing.
Yeah, man, for sure. So kudos to those people. Maybe I'll have them on one day. And I don't know if they spoke English, and I couldn't. It was like broken English to whatever Asian dialect they spoke, but it was great. Oh, they seemed to they were pumped, and that was like the
Yeah,
best part. But anyway,
yeah, they could have been Chinese spies for all we knew, but
yeah,
they just snuck in. They're like, "We'll take the award, yeah."
yeah, of course we'll take the right. Dude, I saw something interesting the other day. I saw that Adam Sandler was was supposed to be the Bear Jew in Inglorious Bastards. You ever seen Inglorious Bastards?
I did. It's one of my favorite. Who's that guy? Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, yeah.
Tarantino movies. Yeah.
He was talking to Howard Stern about it, and I saw it was like a TikTok I saw, and that would be worth remaking the movie just to see Sandler
You would
play
see
that
Adam
role.
Sandler be the Bear Jew.
The
He
Bear
would probably
Jew.
make it only if he did that one voice, like get over. Like he just like freak out and just beat the crap out of like Nazis. I could see that.
It
Could
just might
definitely go
not
along
work
with that.
because he's so funny. Sort of like I would be laughing. I mean,
Yeah,
that movie already kind of teeters the line of like comical but like serious.
yeah.
And if you would have put that bat in his hands and let him be that like the guy that dominates that, I mean, that would have just been off the walls. I would have won some
Like
award
Little
for.
Nicky meets the Bear Jew. That's what I'm
Yeah,
visualizing.
yeah, yeah.
That would be
Uh,
great.
yeah, you're like yodel like hee hoo and just
Yeah.
oh man, dude, I love that you told me you got some notes, you thought about some. What's on your mind? What's new in
Well,
Mike
what do you
Cintron's
think
world?
about this TikTok being shut down by the government? Because I mean,
I
especially in your generation, I mean, you look like a young buck. I don't know how old you are, but I mean, TikTok is the thing. For me, I was just like, this is too much. I got Facebook, I got Instagram, I got Twitter. I think I was on Snapchat as well at some point trying to figure out that nonsense. I just do the Instagram. I try to get a flyer. Here's what it is. And then if you go on my page, it does look pretty lame. It's like flyer, 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 comedy show, flyer, 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 comedy show. And so like I'm trying to put more zest of, when I find something I guess interesting and I feel like putting that out there. But also, it's good to have your own privacy and not be engaged into, being on social media. But anyway, I mean, I know of quite a number of comics are heartbroken if this thing goes through. I know Rumble is thinking about buying it. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you're definitely old because you just told me that your Facebook is still one of your top social media accounts.
I
So
still use
you're
it. I still use it. I love it. It's my generation now. It's pretty much. I get to
yeah.
see Sarah, who I went to high school with, and how heavy she got with her 3 kids and her 2 divorces. And I'm like, hey, I don't look so bad now, do I? Making fun of this short guy, but hey.
Oh, dude,
Anyway,
that's hilarious. But
I love
I mean,
Facebook.
yeah, it's I don't do it much anymore. I guess like the mistake I made a long time ago is I got rid of my original Facebook, got back on it just to like kind of have a presence there, but I don't care to engage in it. But either way, I'm
Yeah.
busting your horns about being on it. But yeah,
No.
TikTok though, like it's just it's cool. The concept of it is great. I don't understand the national security element of it, so I won't pretend that I do. So if
Yeah.
that's a problem, and like, yeah, sure, like we should probably do something about that. But hopefully they figure out a situation where they could like sell it to an American company and keep the concept the same because yeah,
Hmm.
it's not like Instagram where like you can't just post your flyers. Like you have to post content. Like
Yeah.
it
It has to
has
be
to
like move in, chi chi chi, blah blah blah. I'm
yeah.
like, I can't do that.
And there's so much dumb stuff, but like I've started posting more clips. I've tried to post more like in the day of the life kind of like, stuff, just trying to like figure out how it works. But we saw like, Matt Rife blew up from that and
Yeah.
comics get recognized on that platform. So yeah, dude, I definitely, I did see that Rumble is considering buying it, but like the price tag I heard is like going to be astronomical to buy it because it's a fucking monster of a platform right now. So yeah, dude, it's yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I hope, but I mean, you could do the same stuff on Instagram Reels, YouTube Reels, like all that stuff. But I just, it's like it's got its own little special spot because it's only short videos, and I think that's kind of cool that
It
it
was like,
specializes in that.
do you remember Vine? Is that too?
No, I
Am
remember
I
it.
getting real old with you?
No,
I
I
used to
remember
love the
that.
Vines. I'd
Yeah,
be like,
yeah,
oh my god, I'm doing something cool. Look at the food I'm eating. Oh, and then
yeah.
I'm like, who wants to look at me eat? But I still do that with Instagram. I'm like, look at this fine taco I got. Let me take a picture before I eat it. And sometimes I'll mess up and still take a bite, and then I'll try to like hide it because I'm like, no one wants to see a bite. You're gonna take a
That
food picture.
Dude, that's
Disgusting.
probably my least favorite part of any social media when you have like food people who go and try food places and stuff. Like when they show their bite of the food, I'm always like, just blur that out, dude. It's like
No one wants to see that.
it's like the worst part. They should just like go to take the bite, fast forward 4 seconds to when their like mouth is closed and they're chewing like an adult, like a human being. And I'm like, then I'm good with it. That it's cool what you're doing, but I hate watching people chew the food and like bite it and put it in their mouth. I'm like, oh, it's so gross. No one
Definitely the
wants it.
sound. The
Oh
sound
yeah.
of hearing someone chew, especially like pizza, can really like make me want to throw up.
Yeah, dude. I'm not that's what maybe instead of getting rid of it, we could just put some regulations on like gross like minor gross things that like bother us on there. Just like some little tweaks we're gonna make to TikTok. No more chewing food. You know, that's not gonna be allowed.
I bet there's a kink out there though. I bet there's like some dudes like, I
Oh
seen
yeah.
chicks just eat a freaking greasy burger and watch that cheese come down her cheeks,
Oh,
down
dude,
her
there's
little
got
cleavage, and you're like, oh,
someone there's
disgusting.
out that there has to be a kink for that. There's a kink for everything. I think that's just the
Yeah,
world we live in these days. There's just got to be a
yeah.
kink. But yeah, I don't know, dude. Hopefully, I just got started on TikTok like in the last probably 6 months. So I'm like, that'd be a bummer, but at least I wouldn't lose a whole lot. You know, I actually, it's funny, bro. I specifically started researching Rumble because I was like, maybe that's the jump to. Maybe that's where everybody goes to next. Like, it'd be cool to get ahead of something, but I'm not that crafty
Yeah.
to do that. So I don't know.
It seems like the thing to do is you have to have like, you definitely want to have clips to put it on these little media sites, and then like try to put as many platforms, like I guess have a YouTube thing, and I don't know. But what do I know? I was trying to look into doing a podcast, and I'm like, this seems just too complicated. So I'm glad you allowed me to come on yours. It seems like I get to
Yeah,
get that little
anytime.
podcast itch out.
Anytime, bro. We could bullshit about stuff as it comes up too. Yeah, it's interesting to get into it because one, first off, there's like this perception from comedians, I feel like, where they're like, oh yeah, another podcast by a comedian. But my thought is I'm like, it's just like it's part of this like weird craft we're in. Like you gotta like
Yeah,
have this as part of everything else you're doing. So while I'm 8 episodes deep, it still kind of sucks. Uh, there's like I don't even know if anyone listens, but the reels do okay on the
okay,
platforms. But I'm just grow it, learn how to make it, learn how to do stuff. So like fuck everybody who's got something to say about it because it's like it's a good learning experience, honestly,
yeah.
to figure out how to do this shit.
And I think it's it gives. I think there are people out there who look for interesting conversations. I don't, I definitely will just stumble upon a podcast, and then if it's cool, I'll try to like go down and listen to some more of them. So kudos to you for doing it. It's not easy, um, and yeah. So I mean, the other thing I think I sent you about we can maybe get into is what's going on in Haiti. I know it's kind of it could hit some like troubling waters there, but yeah, I think since we talked, their prime minister did resign. He got out of
He's
there. He's like,
he's
I gotta
out,
get
dude.
out.
It's honestly, I was glad you noticed that too, because yeah, right. It's interesting waters we're playing in, but we'll tread in them. We won't dive too deep in them.
Right.
But well, like I saw that he's like, yeah, I'm out, and I'm like, that's kind of great leadership. also terrible leadership.
Totally.
Because
Like,
you're
I don't
like,
want to be eaten alive. I'm getting out
yeah,
of
and he's
here.
also like, I got no control. I'm clearly not doing a good job. Like, I got to get out of here. So, but I feel like it's just gonna make problems worse over there. But yeah, it's a terrifying situation. And then
Yeah.
naturally the internet gravitates towards like Florida better prepare for the mass immigration of like
Oh yeah.
Haitian immigrants, and we're like, oh man, that's the next thing we're gonna have to hear about. You know,
I know.
it's the next problem, quote
Can't get a
unquote, that we're gonna.
break. I
Yeah,
know.
dude, we can't get a break, dude. But it's it's like I don't understand Haiti and how it even exists as like a problem country. It's like what, like, can't there just be more done to make it less like awful than it
My,
is? It's horrendous. It's absolutely like even
yeah.
before this, it was like it wasn't a good situation. It was a pretty ugly situation, like to begin with. And yeah, I don't know, dude. I wish them the best, but shit.
That earthquake was not a good. That was like the tipping
Yeah.
point in my lifetime. I remember was real bad. My mom was home making a little gravy
Hey.
and chicken parm, and she's like, I wonder if they're gonna try to take over the whole island. I'm like, ooh, that'd be a boss move. They go into because they share that island with Dominican Republic. Do you ever see a future where that could probably be like that one island is like we're just gonna be under one government now?
Only if Dominican Republic like adopted them,
Do
basically.
they have
I
an
don't.
army, Dominican Republic?
That's what I was gonna.
That's what we were
I
like
don't know.
wondering.
I went there last year. Wasn't terribly impressed or felt safe. Like, to
Okay,
be honest, like it was like I went to an all inclusive, but the ride from the airport to the all inclusive was nothing short of sketchy.
okay.
So, and once we got there, it was like kind of fine. But like honestly, I didn't realize till we got to DR that it was like neighbors. It was like Haiti is like their Canada, like
Yeah,
basically, right? So,
I think it's just a
I
mountain range that separates it in the middle of the island.
I don't know. I think DR's got some problems of their own to fix before they start adopting other people's problems.
Well, I'm just saying, what if Haiti, like, so now this government's out, prime minister cut out, he's like, peace, you guys are on your own. These uh, insurrectionists, do we call them insurrectionists, or do we just call American people who go to the Capitol? I don't know, but the people who are, like, causing trouble, these hoodlums in Port-au-Prince, God bless those good Haitians out there, hope they're safe out there. We know comedians that are Haitian, and I'm sure they may have family, friends out there. But now, let's say they take over that government. They're like, boom, who's going to test us? We're riding this. It's like Mad Max now. And then they're like, next, we're coming after you, DR. You got some all inclusive resorts we want. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. We want that buffet. We're trying to get to the buffet. That's like all. We'll come in peace. We just want the all you can eat. Really, like that's it. But you know, we do know some Haitian. we One of the funniest jokes I ever heard was man, I forget his last name. Rich. You know Rich. He's like tall, like handsome, like dark skinned guy. He's an actor too. I forget his last name. But he's like, I don't look like, maybe I'm gonna botch this, but he's like, I don't look Haitian because my cheekbones aren't above my eyebrows. He said it. He said, I'm repeating it, but that was like the
It's
one of
funny.
the funniest observations I've seen of like someone who's Haitian, like trying to explain it
Yeah.
to the world, basically.
That's the beauty about comedy. We all get to make fun of our own cultures or own physical, differences or whatever we may feel insecure about. We get to own that on stage and again embrace it. And people laugh through that humor, and it gives us more power behind those kind of things that people may have used as weapons against us in the past. So that's the beauty about comedy, is being able to open into someone else's culture, their awareness of what they think they may be perceived as, and making it funny that we all can kind of digest. So I think it's great. um
And we
yeah,
get to
go
dig
ahead.
into people's mental health, which is
Yeah,
great too, because sometimes it's not a comedy set. It's a
therapy
release.
session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely a therapy session going on, and you're kind of like, let them have it. Like they need that like right now. But
Oh yeah.
that's always interesting aspect that you get to see sometimes at
I've
this
been there.
yeah.
I've been there just talking shit on stage, and I'll try to like after a minute or so when I could feel the energy, like oh, this is getting kind of weird. I'll try to like, okay, where's the funny I can make this? And sometimes I'm able to pull it. Sometimes it's just like, you made it awkward. And then I'm the host, and then I'm like, all right, up next, Kevin Javier. Like,
Everyone's sad. Everyone's just sad, being like, "Is
yeah,
that guy
like,
okay?"
oh my god,
Yeah,
go
poor
give
guy.
him a hug. Buy him a beer.
Oh, dude, I I
Yeah,
I just learned about this. Again, another social media find. This maximum security prison in I think it's in Arizona or New Mexico over there area, but it's
yeah,
like it's like the Alcatraz of today. Like it's supposed to be the
yeah.
most modern day. It's called like ADX Florence. Have you heard of that or have you seen that?
Well, I know there's the one in Colorado that what's his name? El Chapo is at. That they
Okay.
have him currently locked up in, and that one had a few other people in there. But yeah, I think I've heard about this one also that it's like impossible to break out of or anything
They
like that. Is
they've
that what you're talking
they've
about?
designed yeah, they've designed it to the point where like the view they get very minimal light into their cells and
Mm.
the view is like the whole thing is designed so that they can't get an idea of where they're at in the prison. Like they can't get
Oh,
an idea of the layout. Like they've
right.
constructed it so they get like no idea of the layout to prevent breakouts, like things like that. And it's incredible. And so I'm watching this video, and it's like talking about the people that are in there, and it's like this guy, he's doing a life sentence. This guy's doing a double life sentence. This guy's doing a triple life sentence. And there's a dude in there doing 9 years.
Uh, for a traffic ticket. He's like,
Yeah.
dang, I
I'm
should to a
like,
cop.
how do you get single
9 years.
digit? How do you get single digit
And they
years,
don't, yeah, you're like, man, they're gonna kill me. Like they're,
dude?
especially dude doing 3 life sentences. What does he have to lose at that point?
I
I
don't know.
mean, unless he's locked up somewhere, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean they don't get any interaction here. They don't get like rec time and stuff. Like they just got like a slot for their food. I think it's like super like not inhumane, but closest thing probably to it. I would think to like prevent any issues. But man, it's got to be rough to be to know you're getting out. Like, and you're probably like one of two of like a
Yeah,
couple hundred that are like that guy.
you're like, how did I
You
end
have
up
to.
on this list?
That's
Like
that's
my
what
lawyer
that's
sucked.
dude, that's what I'm saying. Like anywhere else, dude. You don't even gotta. I'll do double the time, just not here.
Yeah, take me to county. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That is so funny. Like, I'm a,
they're
I'm
like
just thinking
reading
like
your
how.
verdict, and they're like guilty on the charge of reckless driving, and then you're like serving 9 years in ADX Florence. You're like whoa. Like, hang on a second. Do I get any say in this?
And like, what sick mind designed that? You know, they must have had like maybe a mouse, some kind of like
Oh, dude.
pre-project to prove their theory of how the light would kill their sensor deprivation or whatever the hell, and not figure out the layout. And that mad genius, you know, he sounded Swedish. He's like, I have constructed the perfect building. Like,
And then they
that's
killed
one shall
him.
escape. Yeah, right.
And then they killed him so that no one could know. They're like, yeah, great job. You're done.
Then the Haitian gang cannibals come in and be. Anyway, did you hear about Andrew Tate being arrested? The
I heard he's
hero?
getting
I don't know.
extra. He's getting extradited to UK. I'm listening. I'm letting the dog out of the room, but keep
Okay.
talking. Tell me what you heard about it. There we go. They
Okay.
got him. No, go
Well,
ahead. Go ahead.
oh, they got it.
Go ahead. Yeah,
By the way, cute dog.
he's
What's
on the
the
shirt,
dog? That's a great shirt. I would buy that shirt. How did you
yeah,
make that yourself?
dude. I found it on Amazon. It's
Oh, okay,
great.
all right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I gotta get me a dog. When is that? Have you? How long have you had your dog?
So it was my girlfriend's dog when we met. We've been together
Okay,
for 2.5 years. So yeah, he's 4, or he's gonna be 5 this year, actually.
okay,
But
okay.
yeah, so he's cool. He's a cool little guy.
Yeah.
He got on the
Um,
pod for a little bit. He usually does get on. He usually kind of like comes and chills with me while I'm doing shit, and
I
then
saw him. I
bounces.
didn't want to, say anything, but I'm like, that's cute. I want to have a dog too. I want to have like a little Chihuahua that you're like, does Mike sell cocaine or something? I don't know. So yeah,
I br-
Andrew Tate. I don't know what you
yeah.
gonna
No, I brought him
say.
to an open mic one time. I don't know if you
Oh
remember.
yeah. No,
Yeah, it was,
I can't do
yeah, yeah. You're like, no, no, of course not. No, he's come to an open mic before, but it honestly it becomes a distraction because there is a cute dog there, and he wants to just run around and stuff, and it was cool one. I think I did it twice, but it's not an
Yeah.
ideal thing to do. If he was more chill, I'd do it, but he's not chill. He wants to go party, which I get it.
Do you look at other comics who bring their pets to the open mic? Like, what are you doing? Like,
Well, I've never seen another pet besides a dog. Like I've seen other people bring dogs, but if someone brought like a parrot or something
I
like
saw
that,
a
that'd be
parrot.
you've seen. Oh my
No
god,
lie, in Dada, no lie, someone with a parrot, and then I swear to God, during everybody else's set, the parrot was heckling people.
oh my god, dude.
And I'm
No,
sorry, I'm so sorry. And then I was like, can you please go outside with the bird? It's yelling at everybody during the set. And like, I don't know, there was like a little thing, and then they went in the back. I think management like put them in a different room. But yeah, for like 3, 4 comics straight, and they sorry, sorry, and it won't do it again. It's just a little wound up. Why are you
well,
bringing the parrot out?
I think some like because how do you handle a heckling bird?
Yeah,
Like there's you can't do anything about it. What do you like? You can't beat up the bird. You can't yell. You can't
it
insult the
was
bird.
funny. It made it more
Yes,
funnier. I
it's
actually
almost
kind
an
of liked it.
it's kind of an act. Like if you could really get that thing to be good, either one, keep it with you on stage, or two, like just plant it in the audience and be like, who's heckling me out there, And like,
I
how do you ask
saw
the parrot? Like, what do you do for work? Buddy, like, what's your name? You single? You dating
you
anyone right now?
suck.
Yeah, like tough crowd.
What'd be great is because I saw they have a bodysuit that you can be a parrot. Like I was gonna
Yeah,
wear this for pirate festival. It was like a joke, but I was contemplating. And because I figured that everyone's gonna be a pirate, I'll be the parrot just to like kind of mix it up. But
yeah.
so imagine I had another comic, like dressed up as a parrot, just heckling. Anyway,
That would be awesome if a human decided to take form of a
right.
parrot and really like ruin someone's
Sit on a
day.
perch. We'll get like a little like
Yeah,
I don't know, log or something.
yeah.
Um,
Hey,
speaking,
write that one down. I think that's a keeper for try it out one day. This is an art. We're allowed to try different things.
speaking of logs, what about the same presidents running 4 years ago? It's like, are we in a loop, Tony? Did we go into a different dimension and now we're just in Groundhog's Day?
Well, and now the scary thing is that like they keep bringing up like moments from like 4 years ago of like like so right about now is when the world started to shut down 4 years ago from COVID. So
Yeah.
everyone's trying to point out. I think the Super Bowl was the same, and
Hmm.
it is like that. That's the I just I'm like please just don't shut the world down again. You old
They were
guys.
talking about Virus X.
Oh no, we don't need Virus X. We don't need any. We don't need anything. Just get this over with as quickly as possible. You know what I mean? Let's expedite this process to get it out of our way because you're like, it's not going to be a clean year. It's just going to be filled with garbage and bullshit and people angry at each other and stuff. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be an absolute mess.
It's going to be a big mess. Like the
I'm team RF.
CDC,
I'm team RFK.
RFK.
I'm
My
team
mom
RFK.
finally said because I had to like, I'm like, I get Trump ain't going to be your cup of tea. I'm not going to go there. But are you really going to go for Biden? And then I played that podcast or a podcast he's been on. So, and she thinks she has good looking eyes. I think it's really the eyes, not the voice. No one can stand the voice, but he's got dreamy
Yeah.
eyes and he can lift. Like if he went to fight Putin, I think he has the best chance.
Yeah,
other than like if Trump went to go fight Putin in a ring, he's getting his ass handed to him. Like
probably.
I think that's how we got to look at our world leaders too. Like, and if they got into a fight with another world leader, are they going to hold themselves? Like, look at them Latin American prime ministers and presidents and yo, they're getting young, they're getting fit. Like the guy from El Salvador, he's like pa fuera, and he killed like 10% of all the gang members, and then like I don't know, 90% of all the crime stopped. So
He is jacked. I think that's cool that he probably won't win at the end of the day, but a jacked president is kind of a cool idea because we don't really have that.
yeah,
We've
he
never. I
wants to
don't
have
think
Aaron
there's.
Rodgers as VP. Did you hear
See
that?
that? So I just heard that, and I was like, he kind of lost some credibility to me, and that because
Yeah.
and
Aaron
I feel like
Rodgers
that's
on
gonna.
mushrooms running the country as VP. Come on,
It just
baby.
it seems like a good attention grabber to get some, but I'm like, I don't know, dude. I liked you a lot until you started like fishing for celebrities to be like a running mate. But I mean, it'd be entertaining. It probably solidifies that he wouldn't win if he did
Yeah.
that, but it would be very entertaining. It would, but we don't need entertainment. We need
It
leadership.
solidifies that he knows what he's doing, which is stealing votes primarily from Biden. Uh,
We're
he's
trying.
doing the Ross
I don't know.
Perot move
I get
or
some.
something. I don't know.
Someone's got to buy him out eventually and just be like, dude, endorse. Like maybe that's his whole play is just like get bought out, But he
Did
keeps
you hear
saying no.
Biden
But
didn't want to? The White House was like, you don't get secret security or whatever that normal presidential nominees get.
Biden
It's
or
kind of
RFK?
RFK requested the White House, can he have some, secret security, whatever, I forget what they call it, but and they were like, nope, you don't get any. Sorry.
Yeah,
Like
I
Trump
saw that.
has security from the White House for life because he was a president. So,
Right.
Secret Service, whatever they call it, that they wouldn't give him for protection during the White House for some reason. I'm like, man, like, you know, people been assassinated in the past, Tony. You know what I'm saying? I'm always looking at my boy Donald. Uh, he's my boy, but I'm just saying, I'm like, the stuff he says and what he does, I'm like, how has someone not attempted to kill this guy yet? Like,
Oh, dude, they must just have. It would be it would be fascinating one day, and I think about stuff a lot as like when I die, I think I'd get infinite knowledge. Is kind of my dream. Like just understand how
oh, like the
everything.
universe.
Yeah, I could have a clear understanding of the entire matrix that we live in, and that'd be cool. And I would love for that to be a thing. I know is like I'm sure every single day they deal with threats of all different types of things, whether it be like in person, online, or whatever. I would love to know. I'd be fascinating to
How
understand
many
how they.
times a day they're getting threatened by death?
Yeah, yeah, and like I've I'm not necessarily proud to admit it, but I did go see a Trump rally in like 2016 or 17 or 15 or something before the election because I was living in Daytona. He was coming there, and I was like,
Yeah.
shit, like I've never like seen something like this, and I was pretty unbiased, and he was like 45 minutes late to get on stage, but he wasn't late to get there. And I was like,
Right,
I bet there's a threat situation. I'm sure there's probably
right.
something they got to vet out and whatever to make that like happen. But yeah,
You
the
got
whole
a
thing was a
weird
mess.
character in the audience
Yeah, it
that
smelled
don't
like
think about
booze in there, and there was children in there. It was a weird situation. I
That's funny. That's
never
funny.
done that again. No. So
He
anyway,
was like, I think I saw a Puerto Rican in the crowd. Get
yeah.
him out.
Dude, let's get him out of here.
Until you close up the wall.
Dude,
Um,
you saw that thing with the zoo? You see the Fort Worth Zoo gorilla? Like there these two zookeepers.
Texas?
Maybe it was Texas. I don't Fort Worth somewhere. I don't know if it was Texas or not, but they
Yeah.
stayed
Dallas Fort Worth.
in the zoo cage for a little too long, or the gorilla wasn't like kept. Like they were
Hear about
thinking they
this.
were going to put food out, and he was just out. He was just out, dude.
Oh,
Oh my god, you gotta see this. You gotta. It's like It's terrifying to
yeah.
my stomach dropped. Why? I'm like, dude, that thing would rip that person apart. And
Oh, you know,
in like sec.
yeah, in a heartbeat. just rip your face off, and then you just still be alive. Like,
Oh,
and
dude,
then oh, ooh.
yeah, it's terrible. We haven't seen it, and I can't pull up clips because I'm illiterate to podcasting. But hey, it's all right.
You
Don't
do it
worry
in the
about it. But yeah,
posting, in the edit. You're like in
yeah,
the flip reels, and
yeah.
you'll be like, oh yeah, the gorilla, and then you'll show a picture of a gorilla, and then maybe you'll show a picture of the lady with the no face, whatever. When I brought that up,
Dude, but they made it out. They got out. That was the beauty.
oh,
Like that
they're
was like
okay, okay.
they made it. Yeah, one of them I like immediately got to the door, but then the other one kind of got cornered for a second, and it was like a movie. I haven't seen a movie get me on edge like that actual
Gorillas
incident.
actually aren't that I mean, I'm sure they can be like any wild animal, but chimpanzees are the worst because they eat meat. They're I think gorillas don't eat meat. I think they like for primarily will eat fruit or whatever vegetation. Chimpanzees will eat other monkeys. So, oof, I think that's probably why he got lucky. It's just like, oh, you're like a little, like they know they could just rip us apart.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That was an interesting one. So I saw that. Another cool thing happened in the last week is IHOP and Applebee's are announcing like joint locations. That's kind of what that's just they basically are just creating brunch like
Oh
for
yeah,
their establishments, right? I mean like that's kind of it. Like you can't really
that's what
drink at
America
I
can afford at this point. You get a little brunch
yeah.
and hope that holds you over. Okay.
Well, at first I was like that's stupid, but then I started to think I'm like, well, Applebee's doesn't really have breakfast and IHOP's like not breakfast is kind of mid, so this could be the perfect combo, dude. But also like people get hammered at Applebee's all the
Yeah,
time. So now you
yeah.
incorporate brunch into it. It's gonna be a shit show, dude.
Because people then go to IHOP hammered, so they're like, I could see like the two owners like, listen, we're obviously catering to the same people. Let's solve the common problem.
if
They'll
you go
just
to
stay
app
at one place.
if you go to IHOP at like 4 or 5 in the morning, long night, there's a chance you could just be like, you guys just want to keep this thing going until the IHOP menu opens up
Yeah,
or until the Applebee's menu opens up. Like it just you could live there basically. If they had Applebee's, IHOP, and like a hotel or apartment like on top.
yeah. Or just put out cots. We're very lazy. They're just like, here's the room where we have the cots. Sleep it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that working out. I remember. I remember like when I went to because Denny's is like the place to go after a show. Um, but I remember I got like some like omelets and it had hair in it and it was so like it was the lady's weave that was coming out and I was so hungry I hadn't eaten the whole time from the show. So I can't go to Denny's, so I'm a high hop person. Oh, I was
Yeah.
gonna ask, how did you feel about high burgers when they were trying to do the
Uh,
burgers thing? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. I thought
IHOP was
IHOP
trying
was
to
trying to
like,
get in the burger game.
yeah, they were like, we're now International House of Burgers.
I do remember that.
IHOP.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. I
Did you ever
mean,
try their burger?
no,
That's what I'm
I
wondering. Like,
didn't.
they're like, hey, Applebee's, you do burgers. We're obviously, no one is getting that we make the burgers. Bring it together.
Yeah, they've been positioning themselves. They've been trying to get into that burger
And what
game.
asshole in corporation is like, listen, I know you're all about the pancakes, but we need burgers. And they're like, John, we told you it's breakfast. No, people want burgers with their pancakes. They're like, fine,
We
do
got
it.
sausage patties. Why do you need more?
No, burgers. I do like a breakfast burger. Have you ever had that when you're hungover? A nice big
I guess with
breakfast
like
burger,
eggs on it and stuff or whatever.
bacon,
Yeah,
burger, cheese,
yeah, yeah, dude. I'm excited to
sadness,
see how this sadness. Yeah, yeah, tears. A Bloody Mary. Hair of the dog.
hungover. You're like, why did
Yeah,
I do that? Yeah,
dude. The hair of the dog concept works, right? I mean,
it does.
yeah, you're a veteran to the game. Like
It's interesting so like for me, I'll tell you this, like when I've been hungover, if I try to get that going with like a Bud Light, it's like I'm gonna go nappy time. Like it's like that
Hmm.
first Bud Light is like gotta push through it because one beer is like, ooh, maybe I just go to sleep. I'm sleepy. Shot of tequila, it's like you gave Popeye some spinach. I mean, literally, they saw like a whole change happen. I was just like at a show, like, oh, drank so much last night, blah blah blah. Why did I do that? And then they gave me a beer. I'm like, oh, I'm burping, feeling all bloated from the beer. And then like someone brought over a shot of tequila. I was like, and I drank water. And I was like, let's party, go!
Dude,
Don't tell comedy.
it's you got to gauge it. You got like you said, like it's like there's an amount you could drink for hair of the dog that like calms it down and puts you to sleep, which is kind of necessary. Or there's the
Sunday
other
night,
side where you go and fire off an like a 9% IPA, and then you're
right?
just
Because you're like the
back.
party has to go back. Like I
Yeah,
gotta come back to where I was. It's just one beer. Yeah, you got to figure that out.
you got to dose
So
it correctly. Yeah,
are you like, do you have like a certain like alcohol you go to? Are you like a beer guy or do you drink alcohol? By the way,
yeah. I drink alcohol. I've been
okay, I
drinking this
didn't
whole
know.
time.
Okay,
I've
I
drank
didn't
with
know.
you before. Yeah,
Well, I didn't know if
I
you got
guess that's
sober.
fair to ask in our line of work, if you will.
Yeah, people get
But no,
sober.
I drink responsibly. I drink irresponsibly. I do all
Good.
those things. Uh, you know,
This is vodka, by the way.
I like how you're like trying to hide alcohol on a podcast. Like, oh, yeah, it's
No,
just a water
no.
bottle.
Yeah, I just this is how I get around. Here's a little
That's
vodka. I think
you
it's
brought that
water.
from work.
Yeah, how I get through work.
Yeah, I, I try to stay away from beer, even though I just had one. But I just stay away from like the carbs. But I love doing like tequila soda, vodka soda, like something like that. Like that, I could pound those like all night, pretty
Something
much.
about tequila, right? Like I think rum can do that a little bit. Get you a little like amped, but like tequila is like a different head, like a different high when you're taking the shot. If you do too much, it can get dangerous like that. But that one shot, if you're good enough to just stick to that one shot of tequila, you're like, let's go. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's pound the phones. Let's make things happen.
Yeah,
That three shots in, you're like slurring, like, oh, why was I doing that? But
I have a
do you
system.
agree? Yeah.
I have a system because like I went like 10 years. I'm 32. I went like 10 years with like no tequila because I was like, this is. I had a bad night. You know, like all those things. You have a bad night, you can't do something. I just swore it off, and then finally I got back into it a little bit, and I was like, I feel good. You feel warm. You feel fuzzy. Tequila kind of rubs your shoulders, and it's like everything's gonna be okay.
That
It's
feels good.
great.
I'm with.
Yeah. So my formula is tequila sodas. I like orange slice instead of lime, and I do talls but singles.
Okay.
So it gives me more non-alcoholic liquid, and I can that basically can work all night, like for me,
That's
right?
it.
If I go at that pace, so I think I got the dosage pretty much right now. But I love it. It's great. I can get over the top on it, but it's still possible. But it's harder. I've put more restraints on myself to prevent that from happening.
Have you ever drank and then do mushrooms?
Yeah.
And that can get wild too, because like at first you're like in such a great mood, and then the mushrooms hit, and then it can go either way. You can either have the greatest drunky, trippy, giggly time, or all of a sudden the demons come out like, my dad never helped me, and you're like, oh, I'm drunk. Ugh. Like, so yeah, I don't recommend that. Don't do that, kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, did you
yeah,
have
it's not.
any
Yeah.
other?
Uh, let's see what else is going on. Uh, oh, I thought this was kind of interesting. So I saw something. There's an organization out there trying to create an enhanced games Olympics, so like PED,
Hmm.
like okay Olympics, which kind of has me like jazzed up, dude. Because in one way, we kind of want to see that, like we
PED Olympics, like what do you mean?
performance enhancing drugs, like steroids allowed.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about that.
Yeah,
That would
dude,
be really cool. I want to see
it
someone roided out, dude.
I want to see the
This
shot
monster
putters.
of human. Yeah.
Like, like the people that are just pure raw strength athletes. Like, imagine the most juiced out like shot putter,
Yes.
throwing it like 100 yards. Like,
Yes. I
it's
want to see
crazy
Brock
to
Lesnar's just going
yeah.
at it.
Like, would you think like or like there's some sports that wouldn't work, like figure skaters, like probably not. Like it's
No,
like
I want to see a Jax figure skater that's like barely like falling all over the place. Oh, it'd be great. You're like, is that a he, she? And we just we leave it completely open. Like, we let every Z Zers, all of them, just throw them all in a pit, and the best one survives. They're
yeah.
crowned king of humanity or queen or whatever. What would you, if you were to, if a transgender person ascended to the throne, what would you, call them?
It I guess if we're just saying performance enhancements is okay, I
Like they're
would
not a
personally
king, they're not a queen. Like
they're the champion. They're
they're a queen.
the they're the best. We have to really down the
They're
whip. They're the
the
best.
best,
Yeah, they're the
the
super
greatest
best.
ever. They're the goat, literally the goat.
I don't.
Um,
I think there's Olympics coming up. So when you watch the Olympics this year, think about the sports that you're like, man, imagine if these guys were roided out. Like, how cool would that
boxing,
be?
boxing. I
Yeah.
mean, someone could die, just one death punch, and they're just like, I don't know. John just knocked his freaking head off literally, and just headless body in the freaking thing because this guy just came up and I don't know punched a hole in him. What about that jousting thing? That'd
Oh,
be pretty cool.
the
That
javelin,
javelin, because that you
dude.
also have to have balance and be able to time yourself, but it is also obviously a lot of upper body strength.
I think that the track and field sports would be amazing because they would all like, especially the strength ones with the runners too. Obviously, they like to juice it up a bit. That's been a scandal in the past.
Yeah,
Wrestling would be really cool, like the Greco-Roman wrestling. Like that would be just the powerlifting, weightlifting stuff would be incredible. Like
the
I get
swimming.
that we. I get, yeah. Can a swimmer do PEDs? I don't see why not. We can't. I'm sure there's something. I'm sure
Their
there's
little
scientists.
fins. It's like just half fish, half human, just got the arms
That
on
would
the
be better
side.
if for like performance enhancing everything, so swimmers can
Yeah,
actually like put a tail on because they feel like they
you can
could cruise
morph
better.
into an animal. Yeah, like a centaur is out there.
Yeah, dude.
In the the triathlon.
That
Mermaids are competing.
it'd be
Let's do
incredible.
it.
I get the need to eliminate it from like mainstream sports, right? They're like
Yeah.
role models for kids and stuff. I get that. I get that. But there's something, because my age, and I'm a huge baseball fan, there's something nostalgia about thinking about 97, 98, Sosa
Base-
McGuire.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, like the juice ball era, like that was so much fun because it was just so exciting. It was so
What was the? There
exciting.
was a few of them. There was them. It was the guy from the Giants.
What was Barry
Some
Bonds? Yeah.
Barry
Yeah,
Bonds.
he's
What about that old man that was probably the one complaining the whole time that like retired? I forget his name. Ken Griffey Jr. Not Ken Griffey Jr.
Canseco maybe?
Maybe it was Canseco. Jose. No, Jose Canseco was a juicer, but I'm thinking like anyway. But you could tell who wasn't like a huge juicer and who was definitely juicing. And there's like Canseco, Barry Bonds, McGuire's arms looked inhuman. Like if you didn't, it looked like his little arm, like his wrist would come out, and then he had these meatballs just on his shoulders, and you're like, that's not human. He's like, no, I'm not
Dude.
juicing. This is normal.
it it was I love seeing the before and afters of Sosa McGuire Bonds, and you
Yeah,
see them in like early career, late career, and you're like, Jesus Christ, dude, like that
yeah.
was you weren't even trying to hide it like
Sosa
at that
turned
point.
white. Did you see that? He's a white dude
That was
now.
yeah, that was a separate situation, but yeah, he did do that for some reason. He's just maybe
Imagine that's what the steroids did to him. Like, no, the side effects. Ah.
Dude,
I'm losing my melatonin.
I was such a big Sosa fan
Yeah,
because I lived in Illinois during that time, and I read his biography and stuff, and I'm like, this guy's great. I think he came from I think he's DR. I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
Pretty sure he's DR. And like, there's this funny story I read when he came to America. He started playing ball. He didn't speak English, couldn't really read it. He like went to the store to buy food. And minor league baseball players make like dirt, basically. It's like less than minimum wage. He bought cat food on accident, and he was eating cat food for like a week until like his roommate like told him like, hey buddy, like that's not tuna, like you gotta get something else, man. And I'm like, oh, this sweet guy is so nice and stuff. And I don't care, honestly. It was
yeah.
an exciting time to watch
No,
baseball. It was cool, but
I'm right there
bring it
with you.
back.
I'm Puerto Rican. Not that I'm New. I grew up in New York, but if you were Hispanic around that time, he was a role model. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, I was heartbroken when they found out his corked that bat, baby,
yeah,
corked it.
but yeah, that was. But bring back the cork bats, maybe. If we're not going to bring back the roids, can we bring back the cork bats? Can we just let that be allowed or something? I
Well,
don't know.
I'm like, I wish I knew about it. I would have been using a cork bat. I don't know how I did that. It's so
Hell
weird.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Maybe I did something about like cork bats. I don't know,
It's
but
happened a few times on this, and I don't know how or why. I have no clue how or why. So it just
oh, maybe
happens
because you
sometimes.
said it at a hour and we hit. No, I don't know.
I didn't even say it. It just one time someone said something, and then all of a sudden a bunch of smiley faces like popped up all over. I don't know why it does that, but we're
That was
here.
cool. I wish I
Yeah,
knew how to do things and make it.
yeah. You feel like a magician at that point.
What are other like things in sports that you were like for me from New York, it would crush my heart when the Knicks lost to the Bulls every time. Oh, did you see that Michael Jordan documentary about like how Dennis Rodman like skipped out and went to Vegas in the finals?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Incredible, dude. Incredible that you could be in a state of mind to be like, I just need to get away for a day or two. It's the
The
fun.
balls.
There's
Yeah,
nothing important I've ever done in my life where I've done anything even comparably similar as like a release or escape.
yeah.
Like he just was like, yeah, I'm going to Vegas and I'm not going to be accessible. And then, yeah. And you said like, so
They had
I
to
think
go there and get him
they
out.
had to go get him, dude. Like, we need you back, bro. That's incredible, dude.
To be that
There's,
good that they're gonna put up with that. Imagine you went to your boss. I don't know. Do you have a boss? You run your own company, but
no.
I can imagine if I went to my boss tomorrow and said, "Listen, this is going to be too stressed. I'm going to Vegas tomorrow." First of all, I don't
Well,
have the
like,
kind of money to do that, but get the
but
fuck out of here.
if you were like 2 days before a big like sales presentation, you're like,
Yeah,
I got to get away for a day. Like, like something like that. Like that
yeah,
would be that's the comparable to like the business world of like, if you just like, we're like, you know what, man, I got to get my head right. And by right, I mean, drown myself in alcohol and drugs and women for,
yeah,
for
yeah.
48 hours.
Every
Yeah.
sin known to man in Sin City. Oh,
And then I think he came back and played pretty well.
yeah,
Yeah. So
they won. So I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I think he did. And he performed. So, have you ever been to Vegas before? I'm assuming
yeah,
kind of sort of like you.
I've been there twice. I went there once and kind of did Vegas, and the other time I was more so passing through. But yeah,
Okay,
I've been. I spent like 4 or 5 nights there, like total, like so far in
okay.
my life. Yeah,
Where was the party? Was you said you did Vegas? Like, was that a bachelor party or?
I was there for a work event, but
Okay,
I was younger, so I stayed out a little bit later. I didn't quite like club it up as much as
yeah,
I wouldn't even do that now, but like yeah, I more so just like gambled to the wee hours, like having fun doing that. Like that was cool because they you hear the stories like it sucks you in, there's clock, all that stuff, and like
dude.
yeah, it you could get on a little heater. I was getting on a heater on craps and having the time of my life, and yeah, it becomes like a wait, should I check my phone and see what time it is? Type of play. Like it really, I wasn't even like that drunk. I was just having a great time with all kinds of other dopamine rushes. I was like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
go, dude. Roll them again, baby.
the craps. That's fun. I went to Vegas twice for work. Once with comics, so three times altogether, and the two times for work. The last Thursday night, they always told us don't do anything stupid because it's industry night. Because I went with work and it was Interbike, so all these different bike companies are out there, and we've been there all week. We had to set up the whole booth. We've been dealing with people. We're like ready to blow that steam off. And you got these ladies coming around with the party tickets. We're gonna have industry parties here at all the different clubs, all down the strip, Mandalay Bay. And they're like, "Don't do it. You stay in. You don't hang out late." And of course, what does Cintron do? I gotta go see the women. I gotta go make. I'm like, I'm in sales. I gotta go make friends, baby. I gotta make connections with these bike dealers. So I go and bro, I showed up late the first time. They were ready to call. I was like a couple of hours late, and they were ready to call the cops because the guy was like, "I thought that you made someone pissed off, and they buried you out in the desert because we could not get a hold of you." My phone like turned off. Like I lost all. I didn't charge it, so it died. And then I was drunk as all hell, so didn't even charge it during the when I got back to the hotel room. They were like, I could smell the tequila on you. And the only thing that saved me was I was the one that like sold most of the bikes while we were out there. So
Okay.
the other guy
Okay.
sucked. He couldn't even sell two bikes to save his life. So yeah, that's the beauty of sales. When you perform, it's like you could pull that Dennis Rodman move a little bit because they're like,
There you go.
he's the best we got. Just let it slide. And then the next year, I had another director of sales, and he brought his buddy in, and I learned my lesson a little bit. I still hung out late, but Minda was with me, comedian, and
Yeah.
so she like got me up early enough to make it. The buddy that joined recently from the sales director at that time, he went missing. And he said that he got drugged and he woke up in some house in the middle of the desert and had to get a taxi. He didn't know where he was.
Ooh.
He was missing his wallet, all types of crazy things. So be
That's an
careful out
aggressive
there,
one.
kids. I know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, be very careful. Only cool story I got from Vegas from that was I was doing the craps thing. It was kind of my first experience into craps, which and it was cool. And I was whatever, like kind of following my buddy's lead and started to figure it out. And the whole table's hot, and it was a cool experience because like you see that in like movies when like the table's hot and like I think of like Rush Hour and Chris Tucker is like killing it, whatever.
Yeah,
And this dude's killing it. He can't lose. You're rolling that dice, and he keeps asking the guy who runs the table. He's like, "Can I please go to the bathroom? Can I please go to the bathroom?" It's like, if you go to the bathroom, you have to give up your turn, right? It was
yeah,
like pretty much that. So all of a sudden, I'm not even paying attention. I hear like the pit bosses or the people that run the table start going like, "Everyone pull your bets! Everyone pull your bets! And everyone step back from the table!" And they're like yelling that, and I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?" And I look over. This guy's to my right, like two people down. This dude started peeing in a beer bottle at the
yeah.
table in Caesar's Palace, and and the guy on the other side of the table leans over. I don't know him. He leans over. The guy that works there. He goes, "Put it away! Put it away!" He starts yelling, "Put it away!" at him, and I'm cracking up, realizing what's going on, and and his buddy. They played the best move. His buddy rolls up, probably caught it at that last drip, takes the bottle, walks away with it. Before they could realize that happened, all the security comes up. They're like, "Where is it? Where is it?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then they just told him, they're like, "You could either leave now, or we pull the footage and we show you what you did." And he just took his stuff and he
Yeah.
like got out of there. And I was like, dude, it was kind of awesome. It was grimy and gross, but it was an awesome move. Then they're like, "All right, everyone back," and the table was never the same after that. It was the piss completely ruined it.
Yeah. Just like the whole energy of the whole room, we're just like, I just want to leave right now. Caesar's
Yeah.
Palace could be a little grimy, which is cool. Like it's got like this, like it's opulent yet a little like dingy because it's been there for so long. So It's got
Yeah.
old Vegas vibes. That's what I want to say.
Everything's big in Vegas too. It's just like nothing. You can't just be like, let's walk across the street. Walk across the street's 15 minutes. Like that's
Yeah,
weird. That's weird to me. Like that
yeah,
anything is that
it's a
far.
big thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it's gigantic. People don't really. I guess because you're in the desert, you can just make shit bigger and it doesn't cost as much. We're used to like South Florida real estate, where it's like everything is like within pissing distance of each other.
well, yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm sure the desert, real estate is much cheaper, but also these casinos. I mean, they bank on dreams and hopes and just bad decisions all year round. They freaking. I mean, I was seeing something like like billions or something. I don't know, maybe millions,
Oh
but it's a
no, they're
lot of money.
billions.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
It's
billions.
like tens, if not hundreds of billions. I'm
I
pretty
think it's
sure.
like I think it's like like close to 100 billion, or maybe close to 10 billion, and then at the Fremont, it's like a little bit under a billion. Like they do like two different reports I was watching.
Yeah,
But the point is like it's actually got like since the pandemic when it dropped, it's been steadily inclining as Americans are itching to just dump their life savings in the hopes that they'll double it and get some cocaine from some weird stripper or hooker. Which, by the way, if you really want to have some horror stories, that is like one of the biggest scams that is out there. So what happens is I'm getting married. I'm bringing my boy Tony and the crew, and we're gonna go do a bachelor party out in Vegas. We get the Airbnb because we're trying to save a little money and get a little fly pad, and whatever. Maybe we're gonna bring back a lady of the evening for all of us guys. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, these girls running with their pimps and gangs, they get you to think that they're gonna come back to your spot, get the number, they get the address. They'll even show up and they'll be like, yeah, yeah, chill, have a drink, whatever. And then they'll have their homeboys show up about 30 minutes later, knock at the door. You're drunk. You're like, what's going on? What, man, what's going on? Open the door, boom, gun in your face. You and your buddies are now crying, begging for your life. They're taking everything. They're taking the money. They're taking your clothes, your phone. You don't even know how you're gonna get home. You're hoping you don't die. And the girl, she dips, probably sucking those guys off with all your money. But the point is, that happens all the time. If you're lucky, you live. Sometimes they just kill you, let
sometimes
you die in that
sometimes I think
Airbnb.
sometimes I think if I grew up at a different time in life, I could be the guy that showed up and like robbed the people. I think I think I grew
Totally.
up in too good of a household, but if I hadn't, I think I that would have been a pretty cool line of work to be in potentially. But
I
I
could
mean,
see
just
that. Yeah, if you were like a Bowery kid, it's just like do or die. You're selling meth out in the desert,
yeah,
and
whatever you
I'm
gotta do.
robbing fucking Johns because here's the deal: they can't call the cops and say, "Hey, I got a prostitute," and then they came and robbed me because then they're incriminating themselves, and they will go to jail for solicitation. So that's why they run that scam because you can't call for help. You're fucked.
I I think some places have tried to get rid of situations like that for that reason because there's probably a lot of unreported crimes because you're also committing crime. I think that's like a thing, but let's not talk about that. But
Yeah.
I yeah, well, there was a reason I was bringing that up. I don't know, but
Scams in Vegas.
scams in Vegas. Yeah, luckily I haven't put myself. Oh, what was, dude? You know how the girls in Vegas they all hand out, or not even the girls, but there's people handing out little business cards
Yeah.
for girls, right? I I collected as many as I could for one of the work trips I went. I just was stacking stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brought it back, and in the office at work, I would like go to people's desks when they weren't there and like tuck it under like keyboards and like place it places. It was like one of the funnier office pranks I've been able to pull off, and that was kind of
It's
great.
genius.
And as I
That's
was
really
doing it,
funny.
I didn't know why I was collecting them, but I'm like, they just hand them out. I was like Buddy the Elf collecting the flyers. I was like, yeah, sure, give it over to me. And then I had this like a fat stack, at least 100 probably, and I just started dishing them out like to people for like a year. Probably for like a year, I was pulling this off because I would do it in like spurts of like distribution. That was hilarious. No, all right, we got to. This has been great. I'll tell you one funny
It
story,
has
then
been,
we'll.
yeah. I'm sorry, I've been rambling a lot, but
No, it's
that's
good, dude.
that's a well thought out prank, um, because it took time and just like that patience to wait for that right moment.
And it's not really a thing you can get in trouble for. It's kind of like, why'd you do that? It's like, because I thought it was funny, but it didn't really bother anybody. Yeah, I guess it was the perfect crime. That's why I could have been I could have been a great criminal if given the opportunity. But
It's in your blood. Hey, watch out! This guy.
I took the clean route, which I regret. I'm like De Niro from was that the Bronx Tale? You ever seen that?
Yes, great movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was like the clean guy from the hood. I guess I'm
Yeah,
always like, come on, De Niro, be cooler than
he
you
has a
are.
great thing. He goes, yeah. He's like, let him try to get up day after day. Let's see them try it out. Then we'll see who's the real tough guy. The working man is the tough guy.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. All right, my last piece, and then you could throw some. And I don't care that we went over as long as you don't gotta go. It's
No, I'm good.
figuring this
I'm
whole thing
fine.
out. But there was I lived in a building in Fort Lauderdale 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, something like that, and it was a nice downtown apartment complex. I would never think it was anything shady going on. All right, and there was like one night there was a break-in into an apartment on the first floor. There was two towers. There was a north and a south tower, and it was like a news article about it and stuff. And basically, these people broke into an apartment and were like yelling to open the safe. That's what like the newspaper said. They're like, where's the safe? Where's the money? They were like pulling that whole thing, and they clearly got the wrong place. Like when you read between the lines of the article, you're like, oh, they kicked the wrong fucking door in. So they end up taking one of the humans in the apartment. So it becomes a kidnapping situation.
Kidnapping, yeah.
And then they ended up stealing a car out of the parking garage and also breaking other vehicles' windows, I guess. So like it was this whole issue.
They were frustrated.
Yeah. Well, because
they're wrong.
Because if, like you were saying, if you break into a drug dealer's apartment, they can't call the cops.
Yeah.
If you break into the wrong apartment, you could call the cops. Like when they leave, you go, wrong place. I'm just a regular guy. So you got to think they probably went to the wrong tower, was my thought. They probably went to the north versus the south or whatever it was. And then think about reading the paper the next morning if you're the guy they should have robbed.
Yeah.
And being like,
yeah.
I'm leaving. I'm moving out today.
Safe.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Like, dude, that guy dodged the bullet so hard, dude. Luckily, no one died. No one was like severely injured, from what I understood. But anyway, it was kind of entertaining.
Imagine like they in that situation, like, show us the safe, and you're like, okay, and you open a safe, and there's like just counterfeit money and just like bullshit, like some pictures of their family, and you're like, they said there was money in here.
His family heirlooms in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
My life treasure. It's stuff.
There's like a Twinkie from like '89 in there.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
IOU.
Baseball cards. Yeah. Not even good baseball cards, like cereal box baseball cards.
Yeah. No. Damn.
Anything else on your mind?
I think on that note, man, about dodging a bullet and watching out for scams. I think we talked a lot about what kids can really take away from this podcast. I mean, it's very informative.
Informative, motivational. Take it. It could definitely be showed in high schools at places across the country.
I think so. I try not to curse too much, but I think we solved a couple of the world's problems tonight. So,
we played the game right today. I enjoy it. You know my style. I try to keep my own style and comedy, kind of like a little on the line of stuff, and I try to do that in the podcast. We did great, man. And honestly, dude, I super glad I had you. very appreciative of you in my comedy career, which is nothing yet, but one day it'll matter more. But yeah, you were like the first guy to ever give me a chance on like a show. You paid me my first dollar in comedy. You mean a lot to me, dude. So thank you for doing the show and being on here, man. So we'll